want to get myself live on Clapper as well. So give me just a moment. Anybody that's coming on, hello and welcome. I just wanted to kind of talk about Father's Day and some of the things that I'm going through. I'm sure other people can relate as well. Um, kind of wish my friend Victoria was going to be joining me because I could use her support right now. And if I sound a little shaky and emotional, it's because I am. Just be honest with you. So I'm going to tell a little bit about my story. And give me 1 second. Let me get this set up. And I should have had Father's Day and my birthday because they fall right in line with one another. So today is my birthday. And yesterday, of course, was Father's Day. So let me put this up here where people can actually see my live, and I can instruct them on what to do, and I can also try to read comments as well. I need to have this held up with something. So this is fun. I was gonna, what did I do? Get off there. Hold on, oh, I hit something. I didn't want to hit that. Didn't want to hit that, people. But I did. I hit something. Okay. All right. So that's set up. And I'm gonna start my live on here. All right. And you see the bottom of my jar too, but okay, whatever. That's fine. It's not bad. It's not bad. People can still see. And that's all that matters, and y'all can still see me. So that's all that matters. I'm going to give it a few minutes for people to come on. I'm going to turn my volume down on this so that it's not interfering with this live. And I'm still trying to learn all this, you guys. Anyone that is on Facebook right now, I can't really see you or read your comments. I might be able to if I get on my other phone. Could do that. It's good to have a computer, a tablet, phones, or actually I can get on Facebook on my tablet, which might be even better. That way my phone is free. And go from there. That way I can see comments everywhere. And I hope some people join me. I don't know. Don't know if anybody's up at this time of night. But so be it. It's what it is. It is what it is. And I'm doing this. It says I have no viewers. Okay, that's fine. People are probably still in bed while I'm up. We'll see. We shall see, we shall see, we shall see. But I want to check and see if my live is working on Facebook. See if anybody's on Facebook with me. And I can't get Facebook to work for some reason. What the heck? What the heck is going on? Poor connection, I guess. It doesn't look like I'm having a poor connection on either one of these. I've got them on two different internets, so we shall see. We shall see. If anyone is coming in, please say hi so I know you're here. I'm going to turn on some music and try to chill out a little bit. I've been on an emotional roller coaster all day long, and I just wanted to come on just because I need to talk and maybe share a little bit about my story and what I'm going through on Father's Day, and maybe some of y'all can relate, you know. I don't know. My dad isn't here, he passed away, and I'm kind of going through all the motions on it, lots of feelings that I just don't know how to describe or explain or even pinpoint why I feel the way I feel. Just having a real hard time right now. And just a lot of things happening, a lot of things that are kind of eating my lunch right now. Yeah, it's kind of eating my lunch. Hey, Rhonda, thanks for joining. Actually on Haps, and that's why I got the camera pointed at that screen, because you can't get on Clapper with Haps yet, so that everybody can see where I'm at and what's going on. And I'm trying to get on my Facebook right now because I'm broadcasting on Facebook too. See if I can get some people to join in. Hey Ted, how are you? I can read comments on both of the apps and on Facebook once I get on there. My internet's not wanting to work and connect to Facebook for some reason on my tablet. So I think what I'm going to have to do is go ahead and use my other phone, which is fine. It's just a smaller screen. Turn off my tablet. Because I want to be able to read comments everywhere and respond to people if they comment. No, I can't even function. I'll be honest with you. I'm all over the place. I'm all over the place. Being all over the place. Trying to hold back the tears and they just keep coming. I'm not a crier. Daddy always said I was a big girl and that I was strong. I can't see who's on Haps, and I'm sorry because the print is too small. But know that I see you, and I'm saying hi to you. Sorry, I can't tell who you are. I can read your comment though, so if you want to comment who you are in the comments, I'd appreciate it, so I know who I'm talking to. Hi, Jessica. Welcome in, welcome in. I'm going to turn on some music in just a minute, and hopefully Facebook don't shut me down for turning on music. Haps won't, and neither will Clapper, but Facebook might, and I don't really care if they do. I like people to join in on Facebook. If they don't, they don't, because that's where a lot of my old friends are, on Facebook. People that I know that live here in Texas, that we have physical friendships, not internet friendships. And it does make a difference. It really does. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that too, because just because. That's all I'm going to say, just because. But I kind of want to tell you why I feel the way that I feel and why I'm going through the emotions that I'm going through right now. And maybe some of you will understand a little bit about why I'm having such a hard time. Okay, so I got my live, the way that I feel, on Facebook. Okay, let's see. Oh, and it actually prints out what I'm saying. How cool. How cool, how cool, how cool. So I don't know who else is on right now, but you're not going to be able, you can see me, okay, but if anybody else does come up on Haps, because you can have 8 people at a time on your screen on Haps, you would actually, well, no, you wouldn't have to come over there to see them because they'll be on my screen, which I've got my camera pointed at my screen. But if I was on Clapper and you were just looking at me, if I had the camera facing me, then you'd have to come over to Haps in order to see everyone else. And it's a really cool app, y'all ought to check it out. It's like happy, but instead of a Y, it's an S. Like in Sam, and I can't say that very well without my teeth in. So, hi Justice. Welcome in, welcome in. I'm gonna see if I can get some music on my TV. And we can listen to some music. Maybe. Might be too much internet because I'm having signal issues right now. And I don't want my lives to go down. So, yeah, look. Well, you can't see it, or maybe you can. Says it can't open the network. All right, so we're not doing the TV right now. I don't know how else to get music unless I think I can play it on my phone as well as be on the live at the same time. So let me go to YouTube music, and I'm just going to play this song because I love it and it means a lot to me. And I'm going to close out my live for right now because I got to turn up the volume. Nobody's on Facebook right now anyway. I'll check in and out in a little bit. But I love this song. And it means a lot to me. Can everybody hear me? Hey Saul, can y'all hear the music? Maybe I ought to move this a little further away. It might be too loud. I don't know how it sounds. So, I sure wish Victoria were up here with me right now because I could use her support. She's been very supportive yesterday and today, and I just love her. You know, we've been friends for 20 years, and that's what I want to say about internet connections and actual physical friendships. There's a huge difference because even through a camera, you can't know a person, not totally know a person, unless you're sitting there and actually feeling their emotions with them at the time they're going through them. You know, it's hard to talk to people through a camera. It's hard to talk to people over a phone and get your point across in a proper manner. It's hard for people to tell, even though you can hear my voice and how it sounds kind of raspy because I'm holding back tears. It's still hard to tell. You know, I've only built a couple of really, really good relationships on the internet over the years. And I've been on the internet for, oh God, 10 plus years, okay? And the music is distracting me. So I don't want to have it too loud. But with that being said, it took us a long time to get to know one another. We went through our ups and downs. We had our arguments. We had our differences of opinions. But we always managed to get through them and find out what was causing the problem. Okay? So, my advice, my suggestion to anyone on here that is building relationships on the internet, making friends, be careful what you share with them. Get to know who they are and what they're about first. Really get to know them. Because you can sometimes have a lot of hurt feelings out of it. And I had some things happen today that are really affecting me, that I've allowed to affect me, okay? It's not that the people that I was talking to were affecting me in any way, because I know how to separate myself and step back. This is something I worked on for years. But today, I allowed it to get to me. And I cannot blame the people that were involved, because they probably don't even know or can even relate to what I'm dealing with. They may be able to, deal with it in little bits and understand it in little bits, but they can't fully know what I feel. They can't, because they're not me. And unless you're in somebody else's shoes, unless you're living inside their body and up here and in their heart, you can't know them. You can't know what they're feeling. You can't know why they're even feeling that. And sometimes it's hard to even express the words. Okay? So, with that being said, what I want to say is this. Yesterday was Father's Day, and today is my birthday. I'm 63 years old today. My dad passed away December 6th of 2015. Not too many years ago. It's been an emotional roller coaster ride ever since. And with my birthday being the very next day after Father's Day, it makes it even harder. Because of life situations that I'm in, that I deal with on a regular basis. And it's too much to really even talk about all of that right now. But over time, I will, because I want you to know me. I want you to understand me. I want you to know what I'm about. Because I do feel and I do hurt, just like you do. I do suffer loss, just like you do. I have suffered illness. I know many people who suffer from illness, just like maybe some of you do. Can I stand up? No, I can't, because I have a fractured ankle. So no, I can't stand up, and I'm sitting on my bed. I'm sorry. I just can't stand up, and I am not really good with my balance yet, or the weight bearing part of it yet. It's healing, but it's just not there yet. So no, I'm sorry, I can't. And if I have any trolls on here, I will block you. Just so you know, I don't need it. I'm not going to deal with it. I've got enough going on in my life, and this is not a poor me pity party, okay? understand that. Just understand I'm feeling some emotions right now, okay? I don't want anybody feeling sorry for me. I'm hoping that my story will help others. So, December 6th of 2015, my dad passed away. And my mom had him cremated. She sold the property that he worked really hard to build. I consider it his legacy. The one place in his life besides his family that he loved. He loved that house. And I know why he loved it. Because he worked hard all of his life to get what he had. And I know other people like that as well. And I understand, even though they may think I don't, know what it's like to work hard and work with your hands and put all your heart and everything into it. I know what it's like. I saw my dad do it. I do it on a daily basis, and people don't even know it. Am I where I want to be in my life? No. Will I ever get there? I sure hope so. I'm not looking to be a millionaire, although to have $1 million would be nice. 63 years old, and who knows what tomorrow is going to bring. Who knows? Did I know my dad was going to get dementia? Did I know I was going to sit there and watch him wither away to nothing? Did I know Robert was going to pass away just this last Christmas, 2 days after Christmas? No, and we don't know. We don't know. But that loss is devastating. My dad was my everything. I didn't have a mother-daughter relationship with my mom. My sister and my mom were very close. But I was always what you would call the bad apple or the bad seed in the family. I always went the other direction. I was the stubborn one. I was the one that was going to go up against you no matter what. Just me. And my dad was that way when he was younger. So he understood me where no one else did. And I still have that mentality today. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to fight. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to fight, and I'm going to keep going no matter what. And that was my dad in a nutshell. My dad, when he was younger, and I didn't find this out till I got older, his actions and some of the things that he did when he was young caused him to be put into a boys' home. And I don't know if you know about my granddaughter, and that's kind of a long story, but my granddaughter recently, she's 11 years old, and she's done some things that she's gotten in trouble for, and I'm dealing with all that right now too. Okay, so it's not just the passing of my dad. It's not just the passing of Robert. It's everything right now, all together. My husband came in here today, kind of threw a fit, said some smart words to me. I said some smart words back because he feels unappreciated right now on Father's Day, okay? And I understand that. I do. But to attack me in the way that he did, because he did, by saying to me, "And what have you done for me today?" I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm sitting here with a fractured ankle. I can't get up and move around. I can't go stand in the kitchen and cook. I can't make you a cake. I can't go to the store and buy you anything. What do you want? What do you want from me? And truly, that's what I want to know. What do people really want from me? What do you want from me? Because somebody always wants something. They always do. No matter if they say they don't or not, they always want something from you. Even I want something from you. I want love. I want understanding. I want your friendship. I'm trying to build a business. I want people to buy my merchandise. So, yeah, I want something from you. Is that greed? No, absolutely not. I'm trying to do for my family. I raised 2 grandchildren, 13 and 11, both girls. At my age, it's not an easy job, especially when they both have ADHD, ODD, and the youngest might even have autism or Asperger's. We don't know yet. She's going to be going through a lot of testing. And if I'm missing your comments or I'm not saying hi, please understand. I'm just, through the tears and the emotions, I'm having a hard time seeing. But, I will check and see if I can read the comments every once in a while. And this will be recorded, by the way, on one of the platforms where I'll be able to download it and actually share this, maybe in segments on Clapper. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to do it live this way, because then I can break it down into segments and I don't have to constantly repeat myself. Hey, Nick, come on in. And thank you. Please share this out. I'm hoping that my story helps some people. So I was always a daddy's girl. And at one time I even wrote a poem and it was called Daddy's Little Girl. That poem is now history. It's gone. I've tried to get bits and pieces of it back from my memory, and it's like I blocked it out to rewrite it. And I've always hoped that someone on social media may have copied it. It has my name attached to it. And if anyone ever does come across it, it's called Daddy's Little Girl. And it's more than a one-parter. There's actually 2 or 3 parts to it now, because it was an ongoing poem throughout my life. And that's why it's so hard for me to rewrite it, because it was eventually going to be a book about my life, just in poetry form. But it's gone. It's gone. And one of the people that's another thing, I suffered another loss of a very, very close friend just recently. So all of this is just like hitting me at one time. And I'm sure some of you can relate, Can you feel what I feel? Probably not. Probably not, because we're not the same. Although we're made from the same mold, we're still not the same. We all feel things differently. We all handle things differently. And no one is better than the other one. So, with that being said, Tori, I wish you were on here. The first thing that I went through, emotional trauma that I went through in my life, was seeing my dad fall from 2 stories off of a scaffold. I was 5 years old, and I was outside playing behind the car in the driveway when he fell, and I saw it happen. And he landed on his feet. My dad was a construction worker. He built his business from the ground up. Hard work from the ground up, all his life. And I guess that's where I get my determination of not giving up from. And I always worked hard all of my life too, until I got injured on the job and I'm now disabled. So I have a fear of heights, and that's why. My dad crushed all the bones in his feet. He had several of his bones broken in several different places on both of his legs, protruding through the skin and everything else. And here I am, 5 years old, and I see my hero, my dad, fall from 2 stories. And then laying there on the ground, fragile and weak. And I'm 5 years old, and I don't know what to do. You know, and I remember when my dad was in traction at home, and I'd sit at the end of the bed and I'd tickle his feet. My dad understood me. Does that make a sense to anyone? He understood me when no one else did. He made me laugh. He made me cry. He made me strong. He made me everything I am today. And I'm sorry I'm getting emotional. I'm sorry. I have to get this out. I have to. I've had no one to really talk to today. And it's been a rough day for me. And then my husband acted a butt on top of everything else. And my grandchildren in their selfishness. And I'm really trying, I've really tried not to make it about me today. I really have. I sat here and I kept my mouth shut, listened to music, worked on a post, one post, wasn't even on social media all day, did some writing, and I just distanced myself from everyone. Because right now it's too hard for me to get on social media and see how all these families are really family. And that's what I miss most of all. That's what I miss most of all. Growing up, we were family. Huge Italian family. Italian, Polish, German. We'd have to go out in the backyard to gather. That's how big the family was, because we couldn't all fit in the house. And it was every weekend, every holiday. And then my dad, because of his business, we ended up moving to Florida. I'm originally from New Jersey. We moved to Florida because that's where business was booming, construction, and that's what his niche was. And he was very good at what he did. So here I am, and well, I need to go back because I skipped a part. So after all that happened with my dad, and he finally did recover, he also had to get a second opinion because they told him they would have to amputate both of his legs. And he said absolutely not. And he got a second opinion. Well, for a long time he was in a wheelchair and he wasn't walking. He was in traction for a long time. And then one day I remember him standing up and shoving that wheelchair as hard as he could into the wall and saying enough is enough. And that's basically what I did through my journey too, and I'll get to that later. He got to the point of saying enough is enough. My family is suffering enough. It's my responsibility to take care of them, and I'm not taking care of them in this wheelchair. And I remember him getting up, slinging that wheelchair behind him, standing up tall and saying, fuck this shit, I'm going back to work. Ain't nothing gonna keep me down. Honest to God, as God is my witness. Um, his strength, his determination, I admired him. And you know what? He went on to make a legacy for his family. And I'll get into that a little bit later because that's a later part of the story. And I want to break this down and go from childhood on up. Um, so now we get into the period of when I was about 10 years old, after my dad had gone back to work and everything, and he was back to his normal self. And my mom was at home. She wasn't having to be a telephone switchboard operator anymore. My mom hasn't had to work most of her life. She went to work when she chose to work. It was because she wanted to. My dad always made sure his family was taken care of. So I've got two brothers and a sister, and I'm very, 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 very close with my sister, or was growing up. My older brother and I are too much alike, and we fight it out. um, and then my younger brother and I, we get along really well. Um, so we had always been a tight knit family. And when I was about 10 years old, I was molested by a neighbor who lived across the street. Now you got to remember, I was a daddy's girl. Okay, you got to keep this in mind while I'm telling you the story. So I don't remember what actually happened prior to me going into the guy's house, and I don't even remember the guy's name, nor do I want to. Okay, but he was my molester, and he lived across the street from us. And mom always told us, don't ever go into anybody's house. Me being the rebellious child, of course, what did I do? He offered me some candy, so I went into his house. And he told me, he said, come on down into the basement, because in New Jersey we had basements. And I was like, I'm really not allowed to. And he said, oh, come on, it's okay. He said, that's where my candy is. And he said, it's molasses candy. Well, I love molasses to this day, okay? And it's not a trigger for me, and I don't know why it's not a trigger. It's one of my favorite candies, actually. That and coffee candy. So anyway, I go down into the basement, and guess what? He's got a bed down there. I'm looking around the room, and I'm like, what do I do? Where do I go? There was nowhere for me to go. There was nowhere for me to run to, and I felt the danger. I knew something was fixing to happen. And sure enough, it did. And I'm not going to go into all the details if that's not necessary. Just, I was molested. I was fondled. Um, and I was scared. And I hear my mom all of a sudden yelling at the top of her lungs for me. My mom and my grandma, actually. They were getting ready to go to the store, and they came out to call for me, thinking I was right outside, and here I am across the street in this man's house. Now, my mom has always told me, don't go into anybody's house. So I finally hear her, and it's like off in a distance that I hear her, because you got to understand I was down in the basement, so I couldn't hear her very loudly. And he finally hears her too, and he says, hurry up and get your clothes on, you got to go, and don't tell anybody because I'll kill your family. You tell anybody, I'm going to kill your family. So I come out, and I don't know why I wasn't worried about telling on him, because I wasn't. And back then, all that stuff was kind of hush hush. And I wanted to tell, okay? And I wanted to tell my mom right then. But what my mom did was got on to me. Instead of asking me the question, why were you there? What happened or whatever, she got on to me and started yelling at me and said, didn't I tell you not to go into anybody's house? You're grounded. You're going to get a spanking, this, that, and the other thing. So, of course, I shut down. I don't even tell her what's going on. And I finally got a couple of words out over her yelling at me. And I'm a yeller too. Okay, so I get that from my mama. And I said, he touched me. And my mom said, what? I said, he touched me. And she said, Rita, what happened? And I just kept saying, he touched me. And I wouldn't say nothing else. And finally I said, I want my daddy. I want my daddy. And my daddy was at work. And I shut down. I wouldn't say another word. My mom called the law enforcement. And I remember sitting in a chair in our kitchen, I think it was, by the table. And the chair was backed up to the wall. And I remember the police officer getting down on his knees, and I think it was a man. I can't even remember. It might have been a woman, but I think it was a man. Getting down on his knees in front of me and saying, I need you to tell me what happened. I'm not here to hurt you. I want to help you. And nothing. I wouldn't say a word. Nothing. And he kept trying to convince me that I needed to tell him, and I wouldn't tell him. And all of a sudden, my dad walks in the room. And I jump up and I run to his arms, and he picks me up and he grabs me. I'm little still, 10 years old. And he's a big, strong man. He picks me up. He loves me. And I'm like, Daddy, he touched me. And he sat me down on his lap. And he said, baby girl, it's okay. He said, tell me what happened. And he said, point to where he touched you. He said, we're going to take care of this. Nobody touches my baby girl. He said, you're a big girl. You're a big girl. Your daddy's big girl. And it's going to be okay. And I picked up my chin and I smiled at him and I said, yeah, Daddy. And I didn't have a tear in my eye. Not one tear. I very seldom cried then and I very seldom cry now. So why am I so emotional now? I don't know. I need to get this out, I guess. I've lived with this pain for a lot of years, and I've dealt with it pretty much on my own. And I've helped a lot of people through stuff like I've gone through. Don't ask me how, because right now it wouldn't seem like I could help anybody, would it? Would it? But this is just a period in my life, and it too shall pass. This is not going to last forever. I'm going to get through this. I'm going to get through these emotions, and I'm going to move forward, And the looking back part is to let you know the things that I've been through and how far I've come, okay? So I'm going to fast forward a little bit. I was so emotionally distraught over all of that I ended up having to see a child psychologist. And now my nose is going to run. So I go to see this child psychologist, and I've seen this done with kids through CPS and everything. in recent years. So, and I know they do this kind of evaluations with kids to see how they act and react to certain things. Excuse me, my nose is running really bad. So they put me in this room and told me, this is your playroom. You play with whatever you want. And there was a chalkboard in there, and there was some puzzles and some other games, some dolls, different things like that. And me, as most of you know, I love arts and crafts. So what do I go to? What do I go do? I go and I pick up the chalk for the chalkboard and I start drawing. And they evaluated me through that, and they said that even though I was 10 years old, my thought process at that time was of a 5-year-old. So I had actually reverted back to a much younger age. The trauma was so severe. So I suffer from PTSD today. I suffer from depression. I suffer from anxiety and a lot of other things that I don't want to mention right now. And I don't think it's really anyone's business. Just know that I'm not on any medication. I choose not to be on any medication. And I deal with things by digging down inside and bringing it out, whether it's on paper, whether it's talking to someone else, whether several different ways, whether it's through my art, however I do it, is how I cope without having to be on medication. So, with all that being said, I went through therapy for quite a few years. And by the time I was 11 years old, my therapy continued when we moved to Florida because, I was 11 years old. We moved to Florida because the aluminum siding business, which is what my dad was originally in, and there's a little story about that one too, but I'll get to it in a minute, was going downhill in New Jersey. So he went to, what was he doing in Florida? What was he doing in Florida? He actually started contracting for some builders. That's right. And I think some of those builders are here too. Ryland Homes and different things like that. Well, that's when my dad's business really started taking off. Okay. And he bought his first home and he remodeled it and he invested into it. He turned around and sold it. Took that money, bought another house, and what was left from what he bought the other house with, he invested. And he was a wise man. I wished I learned how to invest stuff. But my dad never talked to me about stocks and stuff like that. So he did stocks. Okay. And I'm sure the stocks that he did was real estate. And I just didn't know it. But real estate is booming right now, from what I understand. And that's probably the best stock you can get. So, piece of advice, I'm not in the stock market. Wanting to, but my finances won't allow me to. So, it is what it is. So he sold his first home and bought another home and did the same thing. He kind of turned houses, if that's what you want to call it. So we lived in 2, maybe 3 different homes while we were in Florida. And I was a very promiscuous teen. So they said. They labeled it promiscuous. Well, I met a 29-year-old guy, and I'm not talking about 11 years old. This is later on in years. I was 17 when I met him. He was 29. And I was sneaking out my bedroom window at night, coming in through the garage door, and I wasn't getting caught, and my sister was covering for me. That is all part of what happens to someone that has been molested or sexually abused, we either tend to shy away from men or get very flirty with men. I didn't shy away, I got very flirty. Yeah. And I liked older men. Go figure. So I met this man, and I'm not going to name any names, but no need to mention his name. He was a good man. He had some problems himself, but he made really good money. Um, we were building a house, but that's later on, and I need to go back a little bit so that I don't get my thoughts all screwed up. Um, so I met him, and I would sneak out at night, and I would go spend the night at his house, and I'd come home the next morning. Now, mind you, we weren't having sex together, but we did sleep in the same bed together. Um, and I come home and go sneak in the garage door and go back to my room, go to sleep, and no one was none the wiser. But one day, I got caught because my parents were up, and I thought I snuck by them in the hallway, and I didn't. They heard my bedroom door open, and they saw me, and immediately my dad gets up and he said, "Rita, where have you been?" And I said, "Nowhere, Dad. Nowhere." And he knew I was lying. And, I didn't lie to my dad. But I did that time because I knew I was in trouble. My dad beat my ass. Nah, he more than beat my ass. Um, he was mad at me. He was really angry at me. And I've never seen my dad this angry before. And it's only happened this one time and it never happened again. My dad was not an abusive man. He was a good man. But he was very angry at me for doing what I did. And he picked up the closest thing to him and swung it. And that closest thing was, I don't have mine here, but the old-timey canister vacuums that had the metal thing. He picked that up, swung it, it hit me in the knee. Well, I've had knee problems all my life because of that. They only hit me once, but it stuck, and it's like, I'm never doing that again. And I think my mom still has the thing that goes to it, and it's got a dent in it from my knee. Yeah. My dad was profusely apologetic, and he said, "I'm so sorry, baby." He said, "I'll never do that again." And he never did. He said, "But I want you to understand, so you can't do things like that." He said, "You'll be taken advantage of." And we talked about me being molested. And he said, "You remember when all that happened?" He said, "I know you do." He said, "Well, it can happen again, and it can happen even worse." He said, "There's other things that can happen too." And I said, "I know, Daddy. I'm 17 years old. I know the facts of life. Um, I said, I'm a big girl now." And he said, "You've always been a big girl." And I said, "Yeah, Daddy." And so anyway, my parents finally got to meet this guy, and they liked him. They didn't like the idea of his age. And we were planning on getting married. And my dad was like, "Absolutely not. Nobody's marrying my little girl. She's too young." And I was 17, fixing to turn 18. And by the time we got married, I was 18. But he refused. And I told my mom and my dad both, "If you don't let me marry him, I'm going to go across the border into Mexico and we're going to get married. It's legal over there." And I said, "You won't be able to stop me." That's how stubborn I was as a kid. Okay. As a teen, adult, and even in my childhood. And a lot of it had to do with being molested and the trauma that I had gone through. It all kind of comes together. So, um, when I said that to my mom and my dad looked at me and he said, "Over my dead body." And I took that literal. I didn't want my dad to die. So when he said that, I was like, okay, I guess I'll wait because I don't want you going nowhere, Daddy. And so I waited until I was 18, and then we planned. They got to know him more, and we planned our wedding. And we had gotten married in my mom and dad's living room in Florida. And then shortly after we had gotten married and we had moved into an apartment together in the local area, my husband was working for a really good company, um, Marriott In-Flight Services, if anyone knows about them. They actually supply the the dinners and stuff to the airplanes, the airlines. So he had a really good job. He was their mechanic, and he was their lead mechanic, and they depended on him to keep their trucks going and running. And he was very good at what he did, and he even taught me a lot of things. And I've always been a hands-on person. My very first job was construction, by the way, with my dad. So that tells you a little bit more about my relationship with my dad. Um, so anyway, shortly after that, my dad decides he is going to get away from all these manufactured homes and stuff, and he is going to move on and build his own business again. And so he did. And he had put enough money aside and invested enough money that when he came to Texas, he moved here, and I was still there. And my brothers and my brother, wait a minute, my brother John was older than me. Where was he at the time? I don't remember where my brother John was. But my younger brother and my sister were still living at home, of course. They were still young, you know. My sister's actually 5 years younger than me, and my younger brother is 10 years younger than me. And then my older brother, and we clash, and this is why we clash, we're 18 months apart. So he was born, then I was born. Bam, bam. Um, and yeah, we got a lot of the same personality. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. That's all I can say. Um, Mom and Dad had a hell of a time with us. They did. They sure did. But family was everything, like I said. And so they got them a house here in Texas in where was that? Where was that in Texas? Roman Forest. Yep, Roman Forest. So they lived there for a few years, and during that time, my husband and I, because I insisted, moved here as well. Very shortly after my mom and dad moved here, I said I can't. All the rest of my family is gone now. They're in New Jersey still. I don't have much family here. My grandma's here, yes. Um, and I have an aunt and uncle here, but all the rest of the family is in New Jersey. And I said, I need to be with my dad. I need to be with my mom. I need my sister. I need my brothers. You know, they were a very, very important part of my life, and I wouldn't be separated from them no matter what. So, moved to Texas. And shortly after we moved here to Texas, we were living in an apartment in what was the name of that subdivision? What was the name of that subdivision? Oh my gosh, I can't think. I'll probably think of it later, okay? But anyway, shortly after we moved into that apartment, or it might have been no, it had to be shortly after, Hurricane Alicia or Hurricane Carla? Oh gosh, I don't remember which one. It was a massive hurricane. That's all I can tell you. Came through and flooded that whole subdivision. And my husband and I, we got caught up in it. Our car was underwater in the front part of the subdivision. What is the name of that subdivision? Can't think. If I name it, you'll probably know what I'm talking about and be able to pinpoint it down to the time. I'm not real good with dates, okay, or time periods. So it is what it is. I just know things that happened throughout my life and my childhood. I can never give you a date or anything. I don't even know what time I was born, okay? Go figure. Don't even know what my blood type is. Go figure. Those things just never seemed really important to me. What was important to me was family. It was always family. It was my sisters, my sister, my brothers, my mom, my dad, family ties, my cousins, my aunts, my uncles. My friendships were my family. They were my cousins, and we had a huge family. Can you imagine Italian, German, and Irish? Think about it. They have huge families, okay? So, with that being said, we went through all that. Our apartment was on the second story, so we didn't flood in our apartment, but everybody underneath us did. So we lost our car, and we had a rag top Thunderbird, my favorite car. Oh my God, red, canary red. My husband made good money, and we didn't lack for anything. And something happened. We were building a home. Oh, I got to step back. So after all this flooding and everything took place, Mom and Dad, they had actually got a loan out. They got into their CDs, their annuities, and all that. Took all that money and invested it into a piece of property in Cut and Shoot, Texas, on 29 acres of land. And great big, long, huge ranch style house. Long, long, long. I mean, this house must have been a mile long, with a great big U-shaped driveway from one end that went all the way around to the other end. And if you go watch that video I posted today for Father's Day, you will see those metal buildings, okay? That wasn't part of the property, but it became part of the property because my dad bought that later on. That building that you see, my dad built with his own hands. Most of the work was done by himself. And it was an RV storage, is what it was meant for. And I don't remember how many garages were in it, but it went from the front all the way around to the back. So that video that I put up is my dad's favorite place, okay? He built most of it with his own hands, except for the house, but he remodeled the whole inside of the house. He built the cabana that we had out back. He put in not an Olympic size pool, but it was half the size of an Olympic size pool. He had horses, he had a barn, and on the back part of the property on the right hand side, my husband and I were building our first home. We were buying 5 acres from my dad. My dad was not the type of person to just hand us something. He wanted us to work for it. We knew what the value of a dollar was. And I still know what the value of a dollar is. And my grandchildren do not. Anybody else relate to that? Our children today are like, gimme, 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 gimme. I want, I want, I want, I want, I want. If I'd have done that, I'd have got popped in the mouth. Don't be asking me for stuff in the grocery store. Don't be bugging me in the grocery store. We're going to buy groceries. You get your allowance at the end of the week. When you show me you do what you need to do and you can do it, then you get your allowance. Then you can buy some. That's how we learned. These kids, oh, sure. Here you go. Here you go. Oh, you want this? Okay, here you go. It's okay, baby. You know? Thank you, Danny. How are you? Um, Appreciate that. I'm kind of telling my story from childhood on up, and I hope I'm not boring anyone. It's really just, I think it's time I bring it out to people. Um, this platform has helped me quite a bit to really be myself and not to hide in the corner anymore, you know? Um, so I've already gone through my childhood up to my teen years, up to my marriage, till about I'm 21 now, okay? And I was molested at 10 years old. I watched my dad fall from 2 stories when I was 5. He wasn't able to work for a long, long time, and it goes on from there up into I was 21. So my dad was an investor, okay, and a hard worker, and he came from poverty himself, so he didn't want his family to have to suffer what he suffered as a child. And my mom swore she never would. So my mom would push my dad too, you know. Um, and I wouldn't say it was a healthy kind of push either. They argued a lot. They kind of like me and my husband do, and probably because I pushed him a lot too. And he doesn't realize that my push is not meant to be bossy to him or anything like that, although he takes it that way. It's because he suffers from addiction problems. And I think that with that being said, unless I push him in that direction, he's not going to go that direction. And sometimes he does, and sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he'll go the opposite way. You know, so anyway, long story short, a year after I got married, I got divorced, and that house is still sitting on that property. It's probably falling down now. The house has been sold now. The whole entire house has been sold, um, along with however many acres it was. I want to say it was closer to 100 acres after it was all said and done, because my dad bought other properties around the outside of the property over the years. Um, he had gotten second mortgage, third mortgages, and all that. So he was a wise man, and he knew how to invest his money. He knew how to save money, and he knew how to make money. Um, and I'm going to say this, okay? And I hope I don't get in trouble. You know, our previous president, Trump, Danny. You look at that man, the stern face, the structure of his body, his stature, everything. The way he projects himself, that was my dad. That is what attracted me to Trump. He wasn't a politician. He was a businessman. He knew how to make money. That's why I voted for him. I knew he could bring this country out of poverty, just like my dad brought our family out of poverty. And he instilled in us good morals and values. Now, did I follow his lead? No, I screwed up. And that'll come later on. And I'm probably not going to tell all my story tonight. But anyway, long story short, I didn't grow up in that house because I was already married. But that house was my dad's dream home. He worked hard for it. He gave blood, sweat, and tears for it. And I remember him, and I lived on the same property, so I knew this. I remember him getting up at dusk. No, at dawn, excuse me, at dawn, having breakfast, and going off to work. and coming home at about dusk. And he'd come in, and before he ever come in, he'd always grab a beer. Yeah, he'd always grab a beer. That's the first thing he would do, grab a beer after working hard all day. My mom would already have supper ready and on the table. We ate as a family. That doesn't happen very much in my house. We sat at the dinner table and ate as a family. Even if we had to wait for Dad to come home, we waited and we ate as a family. But Dad was like clockwork. He was always home at a certain time. People would get on him all the time. I need this job done. I need it done. I need it done. I need it. You know how construction people are. People that are getting work done on the house. Well, I'm sorry. I have a family, and my family is what I make my living for, and I have to take care of me in order to take care of my family. These are the hours that I work. This is what I told you the hours were that I would work before we signed our contract. So I'm leaving. I'm going home to my family. And my dad always took off on the weekends too. So he worked Monday through Friday. Weekends he took off. That was his family time. And he never worked past 6 p.m. Never. So he'd come home, grab a beer. Sometimes he'd go sit in his recliner for a few minutes. He'd always go take a shower before we ate. And then as the sun was going down and after we had dinner and all that and got everything cleaned up, and Dad always participated. He always participated in, helping clear the table and all of that. Sometimes he would even do dishes. Sometimes he would even cook. How many men do that these days? I said my dad was a good man and he loved his family. And even though he was tired, he still did these things. That's one of the reasons why I guess I always looked up to him. I always said I was going to marry a man like him one day. Lord Jesus, help me. Now I'm 63 and I don't want to be married. Don't even want a relationship anymore. A friendship maybe, but all the rest of it, y'all can have it, okay? Y'all can have it. That's all I'm going to say about that. Y'all can have it. Marriage today to men means ownership. I own you. Now I get to tell you what to do, and you got to do it. You must be looking at the wrong person, because I ain't that person. My dad made me independent. Hey, Republican sweetie, you missed a lot of it, but it's being recorded on HAPS and also on Facebook. So whatever you miss here, you can see it on Facebook or HAPS app, okay? I'm telling my story from the time I was a child on up. And today is my birthday. Happy birthday to me. And I'm talking mostly about my relationship with my dad, why I had a good relationship with my dad, how I got to Texas, where I started, I'm up into about my late teens, because I'm not in my 20s yet. No, I'm not. Because I got divorced from that husband, and then I met my children's dad, and we dated for a year. So I had to be, all right, I got married to the first husband at 18. We were divorced by the time I was 19. Yeah, and then I met my kid's dad. So I was 19 when I met him, okay? We dated for a year, got married. We had a real good relationship. Life was good. That was my fun years. I had so much fun. Oh my God, I had so much fun. Smoking weed. Now I wasn't a pill popper or none of that, but I smoked weed and I drank. We partied. I had friends that played the guitar and we'd sit around and sing. Back then I had a voice. And I sung like Julie Andrews. If y'all know who Julie Andrews is, that's the voice that I had. I sounded just like her. People didn't know I wasn't her when I'd sing. I would turn heads with my voice. I also um, I took jazz, tap, and ballet, so I was a dancer as well. And I always wanted that to be my profession, or singing. And I've ruined my voice with cigarettes, so it is what it is. But my voice hasn't always been this deep. This is extremely deep. I've always had a higher pitched voice and a very soft voice. Now it's very deep and it projects, you know, without me even having to raise my voice, it projects. And it's very deep and raspy. If I quit smoking, maybe I could get my voice back. I don't know if I could ever get it back to where it was. But anyway, I can kind of carry a tune when I go to hit high notes because I still don't know how to keep it to a low note. My voice will crack. So that's what happens. So where was I? Okay, so I met the kids' dad. That was our partying years, actually. We go dancing a lot, country western dancing. We go to the bars, that sort of thing. And I had my first child when I was 21, my son Richard. And yeah, so even though I was very promiscuous and kind of, did not so good things, I never got pregnant. Thank you, Jesus. I wouldn't have been ready for a family. And so I'm gonna end that story, I think, right there. And then I'll probably continue it on tomorrow. I'll come live again. I don't know what time, and I may come live with Victoria. So I'm 21 and I'm married to my children's dad. And this is another emotional part of the story. So I don't want to get all teary eyed and all that again. Today's my birthday. I want to be happy. I'm 63. 63 is just a number. I'm in the best health of my life. I'm not in the best shape of my life right now. A year ago, I was. I worked out every day, even during the pandemic. I take care of myself, and I'm healthy. Happy? Sometimes. I have a lot of turmoil in my life. A lot of turmoil. And when Father's Day comes around, and this is why I did this video, and the recent deaths that I've suffered, recent losses that I've suffered, it tends to beat me down even more than it has in the past. I was an emotional wreck all day long. All day long. And that's why my nose is running, because I've been tearing up and I've been doing a little bit of crying while I was talking and that sort of thing. But it feels good to get it out. And I hope no one judges me. And if you do, that's a reflection of you anyway. That's not a reflection of me. I am who I am. And I don't put on false pretenses. I say what I have to say. If you don't like me, you don't like me. Most people love me. Most do. Because I'm real. I'm honest. I don't get into Peyton Place. If you're wondering what Peyton Place means, that's drama. I don't get into it. I try to avoid it as much as possible. And I genuinely love people. I probably love people more than I love myself. And I tend to give a lot more than what I get in return. And that story will come later on too. You'll see. There's a lot to Rita. A lot to Rita. And I don't have anything to hide. I have never been in trouble with the law. I'm not saying that I probably shouldn't have been in my younger years. I wasn't a perfectly good little girl. But I was fortunate and blessed. And I've traveled this road for a reason. And I hope to travel it some more before I go on to my final destination. So far, so good. So far, so good. I recently did something that I want to tell y'all about, and please don't judge me on this. It was something that a friend and I had talked about, and it was actually suggested to me. I guess because I truly love God and I talk about it a lot, and I still have a lot to learn, but I am learning, you know, and I've never been to Bible school or Bible college or anything like that. But I filed for to be ordained, and my license is available to me. I just have to have it. I have to pay for it, which I don't have the funds right now, and have it mailed to me. So I can literally marry people. And if I wanted to do some type of outreach in my area, which I'm not going to say I don't want to, but it takes a lot of hard work, which I am capable of. But there is that but. I've got 2 problem children that require a lot of my time as well. And we don't know what's happening with the 11-year-old yet. She's in a serious position in her life. And that'll come later on too. But anyway, it comes with everything, marriage certificates and all that, different things like that. And I'm actually studying on my own to even, preach the gospel some. What I know and what I believe, who my Lord and Savior is, and what I feel about Him and what He's done in my life. All this stuff that I talked about would have never been possible if I didn't believe in Him, and I believed in Him all my life. John 3:16 is my favorite verse in the Bible, and I believe everyone knows what John 3:16 is. For God so loved the world, He gave His only begotten Son, and whosoever believeth Him shall have everlasting life. And that verse, for some reason, has carried through with me from childhood all the way on up till now. If I can't quote another verse in the Bible, I can that one and I stand on it. That is my rock. That verse is my rock. And I believe that Jesus died for me, and I believe Jesus loves me, and I believe that I am a child of God, and I believe I am deserving of love. I believe everyone is deserving of love. Yeah. I had a very good upbringing. I have very good morals and values. I treat people the way that they treat me, actually. That can be a good thing sometimes, and that can be a bad thing. What I mean by that is when people treat me in, how do I say this? If they're going to talk ugly to me or they're going to talk me down, I kind of throw that back at them. And I don't do it to be mean. I do it because they need to see how it feels. Okay? Don't cast the first stone. Don't ever cast the first stone. Let somebody else cast it. That doesn't mean you can't feed it back to them. I never cast the first stone. I never put blame on anyone. I put the blame on me. I put the blame on me, and I look at myself first. Your rock is your wife. That's so awesome. Well, my rock is the Lord Jesus Christ. I don't have anybody else to be my rock anymore. So it's me and Jesus, me and God. That's my rock. My rock was my dad. And if you go on Facebook when this is over, or you come on here, well, you're on here, and watch this from the beginning, you'll understand why my dad was my rock and why yesterday was so hard for me. And then my birthday is today, and my dad's not here to celebrate it with me. I've often wondered, is my dad proud of me? And honestly, I think he would be proud of my strength and my determination to not give up, no matter how hard things get. And that's the best thing I could ever do for my dad, is to keep going, to stay strong. And that's what I do. That's what I do. You can cast those stones at me. You can put that dagger in my side. You can beat me down. You won't get very far. I promise you that. You won't. Because I'm a fighter and I don't give up. Turn the other cheek and walk away. For the most part, I will. I don't like what you got to say. I'm going that way. I'm not going to really try to sit in the argument for very long. I'll speak my piece and I'll tell you how I feel. And what you do with that, that's up to you. That's not on me. But it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. And if people don't understand you, well, and they want to not be your friend because of who you are, and they can't accept you because of who you are, then you don't need them. Let me say that and make that really clear. If people cannot accept you for who you are, and they don't want to be your friend, you don't need them. Because I know my God loves me and accepts me right where I am at. Does that mean that I'm perfect? No. Does that mean that I don't have room for growth? No. It means I'm still growing and learning. And so are you. So are you. So love and treat everybody the way you want to be treated. Not the way that you perceive that the world is treating you. Because we can get it all screwed up. But love and treat everyone the way you want to be treated. And when I say everyone, I mean treat everyone the same. Don't be a respecter of persons. God's not a respecter of persons, and we shouldn't be either. We need to treat everyone exactly the same, with love and kindness and respect. Bottom line, I don't care if they're throwing darts at you. Let them throw them. Oh, and I'm a good dart thrower too, by the way. Can you see my wrist? And I can also shoot a bow and arrow. Oh yeah. My dad taught me. Told you I'm a daddy's girl. I'm a very physical person, hands-on person. And I'm very strong. Physically strong as well as mentally strong. It took me years to get here, but I did it. And I didn't do it by myself. Don't ever be afraid to share your story with someone. Don't ever be afraid. And if you ever need me, I'm here. I'm here. The best way to reach me, though, I'll be honest with you, is going to be on Telegram. Facebook and Instagram, I'm very seldom on. I've got my thing turned off that I don't get notifications. I get so many notifications on Clapper, I can't keep up. And I don't know what Haps is like yet. So, Telegram. Get Telegram if you want to be in contact with me. And we can video chat, we can voice chat, all kinds of things on there. I love it. And we can make it private if we want to. It's not like the radio chats on here. You lock a room and sometimes this thing messes up and people can still get in. And they can ghost you and stuff too. Telegram, that doesn't happen. I've had Telegram for years. So, HAPS, HAPPS, which is the screen you're looking at right now that you see me on. It will do multiple platforms. So I'm live on multiple platforms as well as YouTube. I'm not on Instagram. I don't know why it didn't link to Instagram, but it linked to Facebook and it linked to YouTube. And I can't do Clapper yet. So I have to do Clapper this way with my phone literally showing you the screen that I'm actually talking into. Okay. Those of you that don't know, I'm going to ask that I'm at almost 16K right now. I do some social media training. I can create graphics. I don't do a lot of it, but I can. I teach people how to create their own graphics. I educate people by giving them business tips. Now, mind you, it's not all free. Okay, some of it is, some of it I give away free, but I do have to earn a living as well. My tiers are set up, and I would like to ask if you please go look at my tiers. They're set up to benefit you as well as myself, as well as also helping me to rebuild my home, which is actually falling down around me. I'll just be honest. A lot of money has to go into this to fix it. And I haven't been able to find anyone to help us with the repairs, materials, or anything. So it's very costly, and I don't have the money. So I have a $1 tier where I will follow you, I will give you a shout out, and I will comment and interact with you. You can also be in my group. $1 a month. Nothing. Okay? You'll be entered into a drawing. All new supporters will be entered into a drawing for a free gift. Dr. Kenny is working on my merch. So I might be giving away some merch pretty soon. I have a $5 tier and I have a $20 tier. I'm not going to go above that, not at this point. In that $5 tier, I think I give you a week. And if I don't, I'm stating that I will give you a week of my time, an hour a day for 1 week, to personally chat with me on Zoom or wherever for business or lifestyle. I do both. I'm a health coach, I'm a lifestyle coach, I'm a business coach, and a fitness coach. I just can't do fitness right now. Well, yeah, I can. There you go. I can get my dumbbells. I got them right here on the bed. I have been working with them a little bit. Here we go. Ooh, ooh. Ah, I have been getting a little weak, I'll be honest with you. Okay, so I did 20 in that, and these are 3 pounds each, so this is only 6 pounds. I don't do heavy weights, okay? But as you can see, I can build muscle by doing this. And my elbows popping. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. This is what I like. I like this cut. And I've also got this cut right here. I don't know how well you can see it. I'm very strong. And I did have a lot more definition just by using low weights and doing low impact before I got injured. When I got injured, things kind of went downhill because I got lazy. I'll be honest with you. I could do things in this bed. I could do sit-ups in this bed. I could do leg lifts in this bed. I don't have to be up and walking around to get strong. Nobody does. I can teach people how to do exercises in bed. I really can. I've done it all before. I've taught physical therapy before. I can show you how to stretch properly. I can show you how to move properly. I I kind of put my shoulders forward, and I used to wear a thing because it would hold my shoulders back, but I used to be very top heavy, and I had a breast reduction. So my shoulders naturally slope forward. I still got indentations in my shoulders from the bras that I was wearing. Um, I still have a lot of back pain, even though I'm not top heavy anymore. Um, yeah, so, yeah. Hi, Mike. Might as well do a little bit of workout while I'm here, huh? Might as well, right? I was going to the gym before the pandemic, and I was 61, 62. Yeah, I was 62. And this lady owned the gym, and she's a little bit taller than me, a little bit bigger than me. And she owns the gym and she does work out. But I would go in that gym and I would be there all day long. And if I wasn't there all day long, it'd be all night long. I either went during the day or at night. The first thing I would do was hit sauna. Why? Because that warms up your muscles. Then I would come out of the sauna and I would dry heat sauna. Okay. Then I don't know how many this is, but whatever. Can y'all keep up with me? Then I would get on the bike and ride the bike for 20 minutes. Then I'd get on the rowing machine and I'd do that for 20 minutes. Then I'd get on the treadmill, or it didn't have to be in that order, but these are the machines that I used. I would get on a treadmill and I would do that for 20 minutes. And once I got done with that, then I would take a little tiny break, not very long, and I took a break in between, maybe 20, 30 seconds in between each exercise I did. Okay, that's enough. And I don't know how many that was. Were y'all counting? I wasn't counting. And then I would start out and I would work either my upper body or my lower body. I never did both in the same day because you want to alternate, because it takes 72 hours to build that muscle back up after it's broken down. So you never want to be working on the same part of your body every day. And if you're going to work on entire body, and I've done this before, you skip a day. You can still do your cardio, but you skip the weights, okay? You don't want to be doing weights every day on the same part of the body. I used to do weight training and aerobics. I've done a lot of things, you guys, okay? And I'm self-taught. And people would hire me just because I learned things like that. And I was good at everything I learned. I'm a self-starter, a self-motivator. Um, do I listen to webinars and all that? Yes. Do I take advice from other people? Yes. I think it's always good to keep the brain cells growing. And the only way to keep the brain cells going is to feed it. Okay? Feed it with positivity, feed it with knowledge, educate it. Also, drink lots and lots of water, because what is the brain? What is the brain? Can anybody answer that question? What is the brain? What is the brain mostly made up of? Water. So without water, your brain cannot function properly. Without the proper amount of sleep, because your brain has to shut down and rest, you can't function properly. This is why a lot of people develop dementia. You know, my dad was a reader, but my dad didn't drink a lot of water. He drank beer or brandy Alexander's or bourbon old fashioned, things like that. Now he would drink like Gatorade and stuff like that, and Gatorade is not really as good for you as you would think it is. You want good electrolytes? Don't do Gatorade. I've got something I can hook you up with. Really good stuff. I don't know what else was I going to say. I don't even know. I work my wrists, and I do this because I broke both of my wrists. So I want to keep my wrists mobile, and I want to keep them strong. So I always work my wrists, and I do this way, and then I do this way. Curls. Just do wrist curls. That's all. But anyway, yeah, I've done a lot of things throughout my life, and you'll hear more about it as time goes on. You'll get to know me more, and I hope to get to know you more. Um, like I always say, you either love me or you hate me. There's no in between. No in between with me. Love me or hate me. Some people hate me, some people love me. You know, most people love me actually. I don't get into conflicts normally with people. I've ran into a few here lately since I got on TikTok actually, and then came over to Clapper. Um, Most of those people I don't have anything to do with anymore. You know, I just avoid them, stay away from them. But the friendships that I built, I don't usually have any problems with my friendships. People know who I am before I ever really open up to them, you know? And I've been on here long enough now that y'all should know my personality. I have a funny side. I have a not so funny side. I have a dry sense of humor sometimes. Um, I like to be cute sometimes. Um, Multi-talented, you know. And I just love building relationships. I love getting to know people. So, anyway, I think I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. I might come live later. Um, it's 4:27 in the morning, and then I might just stay live. I don't know because now I think I'm going to go ahead and end, and I might come back later um, when I figure out what exactly I'm going to do for my birthday. I don't know. Maybe I can convince somebody to help me get my stuff in the car and go to the park. I might make today a park day. But I haven't been on Clapper at all other than this. So I want to kind of catch up on comments and stuff before everybody starts waking up and things get crazy on Clapper. So, okay, guys, I appreciate y'all for listening to me. I appreciate y'all joining me. I am going to shut down this first on Haps. Anybody that is on Haps right now, I appreciate y'all. Have a blessed and beautiful day. And I will be back later. And my Facebook friends, too. Have a good day. Love y'all.